Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to FFC. I'm Maureen.
I'm Amanda.
And we are back with our final episode of this season, which we're technically calling our sixth season. We haven't really taken breaks between seasons, but we differentiate between them. So this is technically our sixth season. Final one for the summer. We are bringing you a review of The Bear season 3. Can we just take a moment of silence for this season? I would like to say that even though we hyped it up like crazy and this season was a letdown, the show is still worth it. I stand by our praise. I stand by it. But I will say this, okay? So this isn't, do you want to say, is it a good review for you or a bad review for you?
Bad.
Okay. So even though we don't have great things, there were good things that happened. There were good things. But for me,
Happened? What happened?
Sugar had a baby.
Oh, that's it? Did you see it?
I said some
No.
good things.
I didn't see the baby.
Pete and Sydney, I loved them in Pete's kitchen. That made me laugh.
For 5 minutes?
Yep.
Seriously, what happened this season? This is what I'm mad about.
Okay,
What happened?
Here's what I think.
Nothing. And it was like to be continued. What did we get?
Okay, so the first season, do you remember how like chaotic the first season was? And it was like a build up to what we were going to get in The Bear, the restaurant. And then the second season was how it all came together. This felt like another building season where there wasn't really a lot happening, but they were just leading up to something that's going to happen in season 4. We're going to get season 4 will be like a season 2.
Yeah, but see, at the end of season 1, we got where they had those tomato cans and they fed all the money. So we had a solution.
Mm-hmm.
We had like a tie up.
But this is the reverse of that.
We had something. They literally this season gave us nothing and then ended with nothing. Like,
okay, this is the opportunity to tell you
a restaurant
spoilers.
Closed, and now we're trying to have AO leave or whatever her name, Sydney leave, and then Sugar might have had a baby because we never even saw the baby. I'm so. I liked certain things in this season, but overall, I'm so disappointed.
I agree. And I think, here's what I think. Season 1 was all about, Carmy was idealistic, right? Season 1, he was hard to like in season 1 because he was so like, whoa, dude, calm down. Just calm down. But we were getting to know him and he was likable. And in the end, they had a positive cliffhanger. This season, I think we're building it. I think it's going to be the same line from A to B as it was from season 1 to season 2 and season 3 into season 4, because this time Carmy was still chaotic in the same way he was in season 1, only it was a bad chaotic and he was spiraling downward. And then we left with a bad cliffhanger. So I think it's the same model for season 1, just opposite emotions, which made it harder to enjoy.
Well, I didn't even realize we were going to have like a cliffhanger. Like, I was like, oh, that's weird to put to be continued on a show that you just watched straight through. Where's my next episode? Oh, when does the second half of this show come out? No, this was the season. You're gonna leave us like that?
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna put us on I'm gonna say quote unquote cliffhanger if you're gonna put to be continued, that means it's a cliffhanger, whatever. Then give us something to cliff to.
We did.
Hang 2.
What? The cliffhanger is the review came out, but it was the words that. This is the other thing. I hated how they did
it. Was this, all good.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not. There were bad things in there. Okay, so my husband, when it played, he was like, you couldn't even see the words. And I hated how they did that because I think they should have spent even like 2 seconds longer on each word. It went so fast that you couldn't see. Yeah, Carmy said, oh, F, but A, that's not abnormal for Carmy. Was that a good F or a bad F? So you can't tell. But also the words that came out were brilliant, genius, indecisive, chaotic. So it was good and bad mixed together. And I don't know.
I took the chaotic as a good. I honestly, whenever Carmy looked up, I felt like that. I feel like that was like almost a relief. That's how I interpreted it. Yeah.
I did not. We interpreted it as, oh no, our restaurant's gonna be shut down, because that's the other thing is Unc, he lost all of his money. So he was.
I know, and they didn't even make that clear either. like they made you like kind of hint at that's what frustrated me about the season is they gave us like
A bunch of hints.
things but
Mm-hmm.
no answers to like
Nothing definitive.
anything. Like give
Mm-hmm.
us if it's an entire season and we have to wait a year and a half between seasons, give us something.
Yeah.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
And we got what's her face Tina's story.
Yeah, I did. Did
And
did
that
we
was like
know
my
she was
favorite
married with a kid?
episode. I didn't.
Okay, good. Because I said that, and Dave's like, "Of course she has." What do you mean, of course? I've never heard of a husband and a kid before. And
I
then I
don't
thought
think I
maybe I
have.
missed it in the first two seasons.
I could have missed it too, though. So who knows?
Story on that. But I did. I loved her episode. I thought that was really
I did.
good. And I
I
loved
liked that
seeing
episode.
you understand because Michael was insane. So you understand her loyalty to him then, now
Yeah,
that we had that story. I was kind of hoping we were gonna that was the other thing that ticked me off about the season is that hers was the only backstory we got.
I
I'm
know.
sorry, there are more characters here. I know in the second season we got some of
Marcus.
Marcus. I wanted to call him Michael
I think we're about done with his story for now. Because
because
whatever
his
we
mom
got of
died.
him this season, it was his, him just kind of picking up after his mom after she died.
And even that was just, and that's one thing that I think they were trying to do something artistically with the season,
They
is they
were,
kept showing you thing in really fast clips and just like put it in there like it's normal, but it's not normal. I know that there's a lot of things that they did. Like there was the scene where Sydney went to her locker and she had her white chest coat and then she was trying to do something and couldn't, just yelled the F word. And that was
yeah.
never dealt with again. So I assume that's going to come up in the next season. But again, nothing is definitive. You just gave us a bunch of breadcrumbs that led nowhere. So it's
And like,
hard to be
you think Sid,
I don't think I think that's what's going to break Carmi is I think she's going to say, listen, and I want to do it. And I think that's like in the depth moment of I need to change because it took that last time too. In season one, that's what it took for Carmi was her saying, I can't do this anymore. And he was like, okay, I'll be better. And then he was better. And then the thing happened with the opening night, which I was hoping we were getting more dealt with there.
nothing. We didn't get nothing.
No. And the whole Claire, that's the other thing is that some scenes with Claire, I couldn't, because he dated Claire beforehand, right? Before he,
Yes.
and then he reconnected with her when he came back. So
Yeah.
some of those scenes with him and Claire, I couldn't tell if that was in the before or if that was the most recent one. I didn't know. There was no clarification. There were things that, and that one where she was talking about some of her patients, it didn't tie in with the rest of the story. It didn't, it didn't make sense. Yeah, thank you for showing us that, but how are you going to work this into the story though?
They
And it didn't
didn't.
feel like it did.
Nothing. I thought something was going to happen in that scene and then just it didn't. And then we
Although
moved to something else. Now it's like I was confused.
okay, so last season 2, we all know Richie's my guy.
Yeah.
I didn't like Carmi at all this season. Like there was nothing I liked about Carmi this season at all.
Well,
But
I still love Carmi. But
I don't. I mean, I still like Carmi. I mean, he's Carmen. We need him. We need him to be functioning, but I didn't like him. I did not like him. Richie has been my guy solidly since season 2, and I loved Richie. I did like when Richie was like, Sid, will you please tell Carmen? There was some loud noise that happened, and Sugar and Richie came out, and he went, Chef Sid, can you please tell me what happened? And Carmen answered, and then he still responded to Chef Sid like it was Chef Sid who said it. Like I enjoyed that. Maddie Matheson. I mean, how funny was he this season?
He was
I
great this
loved
season.
Fact this season. I didn't
I did
understand
too.
when they brought in John Cena and the whole haunting thing. I thought that was weird.
That was odd.
I,
I
John Cena
thought it
didn't
was
have a
funny
point.
seeing John Cena and that it didn't have a point to it.
No, that irritated my husband
I think
too.
he was like a fan of the show and just wanted in on a cameo.
Yeah. And my husband said that what he felt about scenes like that this season is that they're trying too hard to make a dramatic show funny. That he felt like they were trying too hard this season with that.
Yeah, I can
And
see that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I can agree with that too.
Although the Fact Brothers, I did love them this year.
Yeah.
Like this season, I loved when they went to go talk to Claire Bear. Oh, Maddie Math, and the thing about Maddie Matheson is he is this person.
Oh yeah.
The fact is who Maddie Matheson is.
Yeah.
I watched his cooking show where he was making, and if you don't know this, Maddie Matheson is a professional chef. Like that's what he does. He was supposed to be what is that called? Like a consultant. He was supposed to be like a consultant on the show. And he's an executive producer on the show as well. But they liked him and they put him in the show. I think that's how it happened. Either way, he ended up on the show instead of just in a consultant role. And he also has a YouTube show that he cooks. And I hate how he dresses though. I can't
Oh
stand it.
yeah, I
I
know.
can't stand the I want to look like a homeless bum look. I hate it. But that's his thing. That's who he dresses all the time. But he was making carrot cake cinnamon rolls.
Ooh,
And they look so good. But just watching Matty Matheson talk, it felt like I was just watching him on The Bear. He is the same human being.
he is. He really is. I've seen him. I don't watch his like show a ton, but I've
That's the
caught
only episode I
a
watched.
few episodes. And he is. I can tell
He
he's
says the F word
definitely.
a lot more in his show than he does on The Bear.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was good about the season was Jamie Lee Curtis, who we talked about in the last episode. He is so good in that hospital
She
room. Like
made me so mad in the parking lot.
but
I was
then
like, shut up.
now that made sense because at first it was like, why are they having her be this insane? But then in the hospital room, you see that full, and that's what the Bear is good at. That
Yeah.
was a great episode because that is
Yeah.
something the Bear does well. When they brought her from insane to, oh, this insane actually works.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only episode they did that in all season. But
Yeah.
there were times when she would look at the camera and she would make her lip quiver a certain way and her eyes scrunch up a certain way, and it looked like her eyes were just endlessly black. Like
Yeah.
I,
I
I,
noticed that too
I,
at one point.
I'm so scared of you. And she's just fictional.
She's amazing.
She's so, and even my husband, he paused it. He was like, "Can we just say how good Jamie Lee Curtis is at being a crazy person?" Like, I know. We
I
talked
think
about that.
because she's an artist.
And she did so good. I was certain, though, I was absolutely certain that she did not call Pete. When she told Sugar, I called him, he's on his way, he'll be here. Because
Oh,
Sugar kept asking her to call him. And I thought for certain she didn't call him, and because she just wanted it to be her and Sugar. I thought for sure. And the fact that she
yeah.
called him, I think it was glossed over, but the fact that she called Pete, I think shows that she is trying. Because regular Mama Bear, she would not have done that. She would have
No.
lied, deceived her way into it's just you and me now, baby. See how little
I'm
he
glad
loves
she
you?
did.
I was the one here for you.
You know, I was getting kind of mad at Pete. I was like, what on earth could you be doing to take this long to get to the hospital? I was mad. And I was mad almost I will say Tina's episode and Sugar delivering the baby episode. Those were probably my two only
Yep.
episodes that I actually sat there and watched the
Those were the
entire
good ones.
thing.
Those were the two good episodes.
Yeah, like I didn't get like sidetracked or like started playing on my phone, which I did a lot of these episodes, which that just means I'm not as interested in them, to be honest. But for that one I did. And I was so irrationally mad inside of nobody is answering Sugar's calls.
Yep.
She's 9 months pregnant. She went to go get all this stuff. Zero people are answering her phone call. Like this, I would be mad. I'd be so mad at everybody. I'm not answering my phone call.
Uh-huh. I get why the restaurant staff didn't, because their phones are locked in their lockers. So I get
And
that.
yeah, they made that effort of showing them put all their phones in their lockers too. I knew it was coming.
However, they all knew that Sugar was picking up something for the restaurant that they needed that night, and she didn't reappear, and none of you thought, I should probably check that out. Nobody even thought, hey, we're cooking here, but you're free, go check. You could have called FAC. FAC isn't
Sugar's been
necessarily
gone
need
for
up front.
6 hours. Has anybody seen her?
You could have called FAC back and be like, hey, FAC, call Sugar, see if she's okay. And nobody, well, maybe they did because the FAC brothers showed up at the hospital.
They did.
Or maybe Pete called them and they answered Pete's call. I don't know. I just felt like I got why they didn't answer her call, but then I also felt you should be checking in on her because she clearly didn't come back to the restaurant. And these are things you needed that day that she was going to pick up by herself.
Yeah. To me, I was more mad at Richie and Carmen for them two specifically. That's her actual, well, I don't think Richie is, but
they didn't have
that's
their
her
phones,
actual family.
Though. They were all locked in their lockers, even Richie's.
I know, but she was even calling the Bear and nobody was answering that phone.
Oh, that's right. She did, didn't she?
Yes. Nobody was answering
why
the restaurant's
phone. In front of the house?
Nobody was answering anything.
I forgot she did that. And when she pulled over, I like her, she's like, call mom.
Waited last. I'd probably do the same thing.
That's the other thing. That was a running thing through the whole episode is Carmi, she would say, did you call Claire Bear? And he would say, did you call mom?
Mm-hmm.
And so even that we see Sugar has done what she needed to do. Carmi still hasn't. That was the other thing that made me mad about the calling. When he called Richie and he was like, I said some things, shouldn't have, still love you. Like, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how you spoke to him that night? That man deserves an in-face apology. In-face. That's not how I meant to say that. In person is what I meant to say, not in-face.
Yeah.
Apology. And Richie called him out on that.
Yeah, and I'm glad he did.
Mm-hmm.
Glad he
Okay,
did.
let's talk Richie and his relationship with his ex. Was that weird to you? Because that was weird to me.
Yeah.
Although it was
I
Josh
get
Hartnett.
it.
So that made my youthful heart very happy to see Josh Hartnett come on
Oh, I
there.
know it would be.
And all I kept thinking was, I could have been in Chicago to see Josh Hartnett film.
But we had no idea he was going to be on here.
No, and he was only in one episode. I had Josh Hartnett posters all over my wall when I was a teenager. I was like, I was like, oh, is that Josh Hartnett? And Dave's like, who? I'm sorry, did you just say who to Josh Hartnett? I instantly, and he was like, I don't know what that is. And so that's why I texted you guys. I actually went up and looked it up to make sure because he also, Josh Hartnett, the way he looked, he also looks a little bit like John Ritter's son. Do you remember when he was in Parenthood? So I was like, I know that's Josh Hartnett, but I don't want to say anything in case
he does look like him though. I'm looking at him right now because I'm on this Bear review.
I was very happy about that. But I think that's weird.
Yeah, that it was an odd
that she told Richie, choice. Even if you don't want to be there, I'm telling you, I want you to be there. Why? Why do you want your ex-husband, who is clearly in pain, never wanted to get divorced from you, still in love with you? Why do you need him to be at your wedding that badly?
Yeah.
That's a super selfish, hurtful thing. Yeah. Selfish.
It was her being very just not caring about how he's feeling and just, I need you there, so you're going to be there.
Richie loves that woman. Richie did not want to get a divorce. And yet you're pushing him to be at your new rich fiance's in your wedding. That's so cruel.
It's not fair to him at
all. I don't
all.
like her. I don't like her.
No, I never did either. You know who else I don't like?
Who?
Claire Bear.
Oh, I like her.
I don't.
Why?
I wish the writers would.
Carmen was awful to her and never called to apologize. I think we forget he never called her.
It's not that I don't like her. I'm tired of them trying to push this relationship in the show. They just keep going back and forth on it. But for how long? We barely got to see their relationship. But I feel like we focused too much on their relationship this season when we didn't get to see hardly any of them last season. We didn't. We got to see them a few times in a couple episodes.
I saw them a lot in season 2.
I don't feel like we saw enough.
They were together almost all of season 2.
But
I thought they got together at the end of season 1. Yeah, but we got to see what she did for him and we got to see what they would do for each other.
I don't know. I'm over their relationship. I like anytime they kept talking about it this season, I could just feel my eyes kind of rolling back. I like
it. I think he needs to be with her, but I think that I think it's because Carmen is so dysfunctional and so toxic that he needs some friggin' help from somebody before he can be with anybody.
I don't know what's going to go on with him. Like it's Jeremy Allen White, right? So you have to love Carmy because I love Jeremy. But sometimes I want to take Carmy by the neck and just swing him around like a chicken. Like so badly. Like him not talking to Sugar after she's having the baby. Like, what is that? Why is it about you?
Yeah,
why is that about you?
Why are the Fact brothers the ones who showed up to the hospital? And not her own brother?
Like, he's like, oh, I'm so scared to call her. Why? Why are you being a chicken?
Wait, when did that happen?
Like what? I was so annoyed by that part too. I was so annoyed half the season.
Yeah, I didn't. That's what I'm saying, man. Carmy was not. I love Carmy. Like I feel about Carmy the way Richie does. Richie loves Carmy, but Richie is not Carmy's friend right now, and that's how I feel about Carmen.
Speaking of not liking people too, Joe McHale. Okay.
I was expecting so much more. Were we ever given a name? Because I've always only ever called him Joel McHale.
I know. It's all
I was expecting so much more out of that.
An audible from like deep down in here laugh came up when Carmy like let all that go and he's just looking at him like, who are you? just like I don't think about it at all. I was just like, ooh, that hurt.
Do you think Joel McHale's character actually knew who Carmen was? Because he did say, yeah, I mean, okay. Because at first I was like, oh, does he really not remember him? But then he said stuff afterwards is like, I clearly know exactly who you are, what you're doing, and look at what I did for you.
he knows who he is. He's an a-hole.
Yeah.
I won't use the word on here, but he is an a-hole, like through and through. He doesn't care. It's about him. And I think he honestly
Believes
thinks
he
and
helped.
believes he helps these
Hmm.
chefs
Yeah.
become great. And I bet he does. But there's better ways to go about it.
But I think it's because he believes that if you want to be a real chef,
Yeah.
then you can do nothing but focus on your food.
Yeah.
You can't have relationships. You can't have a life. You can't do anything outside of your restaurant or your kitchen. That's
Which
it.
is not true in real
No,
life.
it's not.
It's not true. But that's how Joe McHale feels.
Hmm.
So that's how he's going to train
We
all
got to
his
figure out what his
chefs.
name is because I've called him Joe McHale for 3 straight
Right.
seasons now.
Let me see if I can
I
figure
did.
it out.
Dave and I, though, my husband and I, we were very like while he was there. Every time Carmen would get caught looking at him, I'd be like, "Ooh, oh!" And then when he gets up, and Luke was like, "Oh, this cannot end. This will not end well." And Cindy just goes, "Nope." I was expecting a punch to be thrown by somebody.
Oh yeah. I
Not that I
was
want physical violence, but for all the stuff that I mean, this has damaged Carmen, damaged him,
it
and
and
he
that's what
had
made
no
me
other
laugh so
reaction.
hard whenever he just flicked him off so nonchalantly. I was like, oh.
At the end, we just went, "I'm gonna go pee now." Part of me was like, Carmi's chasing him into that bathroom, right? Like, there's no other choice. He's chasing him into that bathroom, right?
I same as you. I kept waiting for a punch to fly. Like when he went off and Richie's like, how good is that gonna go? Not good. Just
Okay, so
I know.
how did you interpret Carmen's reaction to that conversation? Because my husband and I had two completely takeaways from that. Two completely different takeaways.
I took away I can see people taking this different ways. I personally took it as he's like, why do I care? Why have I cared so much of what this guy thinks of me? And I can clearly see that he's such he I feel like he can kind of clearly see this guy more now than he could back then. I don't
Okay.
think he's as threatened by him now.
I hope that's the case.
I think he said what he needed to say. I
Hmm.
don't think he's healed,
No.
but I think he said what he needed to say, and I think maybe he can heal from it,
Hmm.
you know. But I don't think that was the reaction he thought he was going to get either. So
I think, like, my husband took away that he thought it was just Carmi saying, "Okay, I'm done now. I'm going to let it all go." Like, I don't think that's
no,
that's not what I took away at all. I took away that kind of the way you did, where it was like, I cannot believe that I have let this torment me for this long,
yeah,
and this guy really doesn't even. He's not remorseful. He didn't even.
yeah,
He did this, and he does this intentionally and on purpose. This is what he wanted to make me into. And then there was a realization that I liked that time I liked the flashbacks where he
yeah. I
flashed
did
back
too.
to Joel McHale, Joel McHale and Carmi in the kitchen, and then Carmi with his people in the kitchen. That Carmi
Yeah.
realized, and that's something I thought that was okay. That's one thing I can give the show this season that I thought they did smartly, because they kept flashing back to that all season long, close-ups on Carmi barking orders and saying horrible things, and the way he
Mm-hmm.
talked to Tina and all that stuff. But then they'd flash back to Carmi outside in the middle of that outside kitchen where he was smiling and light, and then Carmi in Ever's kitchen where he was tense, but he
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed it and he had someone who spoke quietly. There's all these other moments where he was outside being himself and being led
Yeah.
naturally by outside things where he was calm, and then you flash back to that and he just realized that and I think it's going to be a heavy blow that he just realized he has become this chef that he has fought to prove wrong. He
Mm-hmm.
became him. And so I
I
think
think the review's good.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think it was a bad review, but I think it's a mixed bag review. So I think it's going to be enough for Unc to keep funding it. But I think that review is going to have the opposite effect than what Carmen thinks. I think Carmen thinks we're shut down. That's it. I can't do it. Unc is going to shut me down. I think that review is going to bring more people in to figure out because it wasn't definitive either way, I don't think.
Mm.
So I think we're going to see it thrive, but I think we're going to see Carmen return to what Sydney was saying. If we could, that changed the menu every night thing. Like,
I That was so annoying to me.
dude,
I agree with them. Like, stop! Don't do
yes,
that. The cost
alone.
of that is like maybe change
It's
it every
pure
week.
arrogance. Yeah,
Not every day. Not every day. Come on,
that's
you're
pure
gonna run out of stuff
arrogance.
to freaking make.
Hmm. And even that, and I did not like Sydney's a partner. It's supposed to be. Of course, she did sign. Maybe I wonder. Just now, I had the thought. I wonder if Carmen is sort of like, well, you're not partner, so you don't get to say. You won't send the thing, so this is mine now.
I
I
don't
wonder
think
if
he
that's
is.
part
I
of.
don't think
I didn't think so either. But
he doesn't think. He's
that
so involved in himself.
yes.
He doesn't think about other people. That's
Although
a
the last interaction they had, I think it was on episode 9 when he told Sydney to come to the dinner that night.
oh, I liked that conversation.
That's when I think that that's part of why I thought maybe he was doing that because he said, I don't want to be that way. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But every time Sid would suggest something beforehand, he would say, no, I'm going to do this. So that's why I thought maybe,
Yeah.
I think you're right. He doesn't think, but I
Mhm.
also think that's why Sydney's not signing the partnership agreement. However, I also think Sydney needs to be way more open with Carmen than she's being.
I do too. I think she does need to be. I think she will sign it though. But
I
I
think it's
don't.
going to have to come with some pretty severe guarantees from Carmen.
Okay, I don't know if you felt this way too. So when we meet the guy who wants to have Sydney take over this new restaurant he wants to open, I can't remember his name right now.
I don't know. I just know he was one of Ever's chefs.
Yeah, one of the chefs. Like I liked him when we met him at the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Like when him and Sydney were sitting down talking about it the first time. Whenever we saw him at Ever for that night dinner, I just kept getting these weird vibey or bad aura
Mm.
type of feelings from
Like
him.
snake like?
Yes. Like I just threw out there. I can't even tell you like one specific
Yeah.
thing, but like even like the wine cellar, like him talking to her in the wine cellar, I felt was a very awkward
Mm-hmm.
scene. Like
Yeah.
he's pushing too hard for something. I mean, I know he like really wants her to come on, but there's some I don't know if it's something nefarious or if he's just snaky. I don't know.
I feel like with that, I get why he's pushing because he's not even pushing for an answer. He's pushing, are you interested? Have you talked to Carmen? Can I
Yeah.
talk to Carmen? Because he didn't want to
Yeah.
but I think it was a time sensitive thing because he said that the property and he was like, I'm fine going on without you, but I need to know if I need to be looking for someone else because I'm on a deadline here. So I kind of got that, but I agree with you about the wine cellar conversation. That was like, what are you gonna do at this farewell dinner? You gonna corner Carmen right there in front of everybody and be like, hey, I want to take your partner and your sous chef
Mm-hmm.
away from you. Like what? Why is that the time to do that? That felt weird. That's the
It
time that you
wasn't
picked to
anything
do
about
that.
him. It was Ever's night.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. He
Speaking of that night, did you think it was weird that they all went over to Sydney's house when none of them knew Sydney and partied over there?
well, we had everybody
Carmen
from the
wasn't.
restaurant too.
Yeah, but Ever was there and Luca was, and yeah, she might have sat next to Luca at dinner, but she didn't know him. That's why she didn't want to
Yeah.
go because she didn't know any of those people. And a bunch of
Yeah.
those high level chefs were just partying at Sydney's house, but she didn't know any of them.
I actually really love that scene.
It didn't make sense to me. I could see if people from the Bear were there,
I
but
think it
you
was just
didn't know
those
any of those
people
people.
like yeah, that's because I personally I took it as they weren't done with that scene in the kitchen. I feel like they kind of like sat around and talked. You know, when you do that, when you're sitting around talking to other people, you know, you move it. Let's, you know,
I
everybody's
suppose
leaving
that makes
here. Let's
sense.
move it over to Sydney's place and, you know, just kind of go. I've had that before where we end up somebody's apartment that I barely know with a group of people that I only know a couple people.
Yeah.
I've been
That's
put in those
true.
situations.
Been a
So,
minute since I've been in that scene. That makes sense.
yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I have too, but I understood
It
it
just felt
of,
odd.
yeah.
But I now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was just Ever and Luca were the only two there. And I think the reason I thought it was weird is because Carmen wasn't there, and Carmen was the one
I
who
kept
tied
wanting
her
to
to them.
Carmen to show up.
Do you think he
When
was
they kept,
walking there?
that's what I kept hoping. I thought I had thought they were going to end it at the end of that episode with him like coming in and kind of like pouring a drink or kind of like loosening up or something, not even saying anything, but just like I would have liked an ending better of seeing him like walking in surrounded by those people.
Yeah.
They didn't have to say anything. If they even if they wanted to have that cliffhanger and save the review for the next season,
It could have
whatever.
happened. It could have happened after he was relaxed, and then it would bring him right back up.
Yeah, something. I would have loved to see him like be in that party with his
Yeah.
fellow people because I kept
Because
feeling
he's
like he was very oust this whole season.
yeah.
We kept seeing other people together, but not a lot of
Carmen
Carmen
wasn't
with
with
the other people,
anybody.
other than when they were at the Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever he was walking by the trains, I kept thinking, "Ooh, is he gonna like turn into Sydney's apartment now?" Like, is that where he's going? And it never happened. And
I
that
bet
was a
it's
little
where he
bit of a
was
disappointment.
going, but they
I kept
didn't.
hoping so.
But they didn't lead there. They left it too
Okay.
open ended. And I think too, like there was one episode where it also didn't make sense, where it was like the sleight of hand. They were showing all the magicians, and Dave and I were like, "Wait, did we accidentally turn on the wrong show? Did we click the wrong button?"
I
And it was
remember
like
that.
the whole
I
opener
forgot about that.
was
But
just
I remember it
magicians
now.
doing things. That sleight of hand crap doesn't make sense to me because food isn't, it's not magical powers. Yeah, you're taking, and I guess maybe the inspiration they were going there is you're taking something, one thing, and you're turning into something that was never expected to be used for, but that's not, I don't
We
get,
don't need a whole magic show for that for
yeah,
adults.
that was weird. That felt weird. And I wanted to see more of what Marcus was doing, but we
Oh,
didn't,
with his desserts, we got like
yeah,
one scene.
there wasn't a lot.
That's what I mean about the season not being complete. Like, we got so many little things.
Yes.
And like, not, I feel like we just didn't get any closure to anything. Like, nothing.
And there wasn't a lot about the food. And I get it's about the
Other than
people,
it changed every day.
but we didn't see like the things Marcus was creating. I did like that scene between him and Tina when he gave her a suggestion for how to, and I guess that's how they were tying in the sleight of hand is, he told Tina, you have this, maybe use it in this way that you didn't expect. I liked that scene.
Yeah.
But it was really, and I think I think they were trying to make this season feel tense and depressing and angry. And so that's how we all feel watching it, because I think that's genuinely what they were hoping to achieve. You achieved
Well,
it, but I don't think it was a good thing that you achieved it. But like every time Carmen would make a meal and then he would just throw it in the garbage, that expensive meat and all that stuff, you're just throwing.
it's like, you're not even gonna taste it.
No. And Dave, there was one point when my husband went, if he throws that away one more time and then he threw it in the garbage, he was like, I'm done. I gotta stop for tonight. It was upsetting my husband that much. He's like, we're after this, I can't watch anymore tonight. This is it.
It was that last plate he threw in that
Yes.
really like.
And that was after Ankh had come in and said, hey, I cannot keep you afloat like this. And he still's like, yeah, whatever, I'll do what I want. Like, dude, it's not just you. You are supposed to have a partner that you are also endangering. Like,
he's being way too.
He is not likable this season.
No. I don't like saying that either because I love.
I know.
I love me.
Some Jeremy Allen White.
Oh, it's killing me when I'm going. I love you, but don't have to like you right now.
And the hard thing is, these characters were played very well. The acting still top freaking notch on everybody. There's not one actor on the show that had a bad performance.
No.
But I did not like what they did with the series this season. That's all it is. They wanted to create a tense, angry, depressing environment, and they did that 100%, but it did not transfer well. Because now we aren't just like, oh, I'm so sad this is happening to them. Oh, I'm angry this is happening. No, we're like, I'm angry at this show right now that I don't really want to watch it anymore. Not anymore, but I mean, this is a season I'll never rewatch. I want to go back and watch 1 and 2 just to get the bad taste of 3 out of my mouth.
I have said on this podcast numerous of times of how many times I have rewatched seasons 1 and 2 of The Bear because I love this show so much. This will be a season that I might rewatch it once to make sure I didn't miss anything or anything like that because I've only watched it once, barely.
It was
so, I usually binge this show in a day.
To get through.
It took me weeks, like 2 weeks to get through.
And that's
I kept
thinking
something. It was getting better. And then it said to be continued. And I was like, wait, that's it?
I mean, if you look, I think if we take this individually, I think we can agree this was the worst season of all 3. Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Easy decision. But I think if we look at the trajectory of all the seasons, season 1 ended on the cliffhanger of the money. Season 2 ended on the cliffhanger of Carmi in the freezer. And no, that's the other thing. When he went in there, I was like, dude, nobody's there. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Dude, nobody's there.
That door and I was like, oh. I was like, you know how funny it would be if
he just locked himself in again.
I started giggling. I was like, please do it. Please do it.
Dude, you are by yourself at the restaurant. Why are you risking this?
He needs another lesson. Apparently, Fac fixed it the first time.
Man, just I want to be friends with Fac. I want to. And okay, there was that scene with Fac and I got off on a tangent here, but when their uncle came in and they
Oh,
were talking about
yeah.
being haunted. That it was that moment when Dave looked at me and he went, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Are they gonna? Maybe they'll make it make sense." But then Fack's brother, I don't remember any of their first names. What
I
is
don't either.
what is the handyman brother's name? Is it Nate? Nate Fack?
That sounds good.
And then we're just gonna call him Maddie. Maddie Matheson Fack. That's who we're gonna call him.
There
But
you go.
his brother looked at him and went, "What the hell did that mean?" He was like, "I don't know." So I'm glad that did make sense. However, what I was gonna say is, if you take season 3 as a whole, it's awful. But I think if you look at it, okay, season 1 ended with the cliffhanger of they thought they were going to close down in season 1. They were preparing to shut down. They could not keep it afloat, and then they found all the money in the tomato sauce. Right? They were ready to close down. That money was enough to start up a new restaurant, and that's where we spent season 2. Season 2 ended with Carmi in the freezer after exploding every single relationship in his life. Every one of them. He threw Marcus's beautiful desserts at him on the floor. He alienated Sydney. He screamed obscenities at Richie. He deteriorated his relationship with Claire Bear. So that's how that one ended. And then we come into this one and it ended the same way. It ended with, and I think actually a little bit lighter than the other seasons. It ended with him saying F because the review, and I think for Carmi it was bad because there were negative words in that review. And it does, you could say 1,000 good things and one bad thing, and Carmen is just going to latch onto the one bad thing.
Yeah, that is true.
So I think it does make sense in the trajectory of the show. And I really think because we ended season 1, they were about to shut down the original beef because they didn't have the money to keep it afloat. And that's kind of where we're at now. Unk does not have the money to keep it going. So it's about to be shut down, and this review is going to make or break them. So I do think it makes sense in the trajectory. And I wonder if we watched it right now from 1 to 3, it would make sense.
I don't think so because I just watched 1 and 2 not very long before
Oh,
3.
I haven't watched it since when I finished it. I haven't rewatched them.
Oh, I have.
But I think it does follow the same formula. It's just a different tone. And it was the other thing was the filming was different. That's what
I
I will
still
say
feel
is
like
that
we
the
got
filming
more
is.
answers in past seasons
Oh, I
over
agree.
even little stuff,
I agree.
but this season just felt so incomplete.
And what we liked about the first 2 seasons, well, especially the first one, the filming was chaotic because it bounced,
Yeah.
but it bounced in real time. What I didn't like about this one was it bounced, but it wasn't like bouncing from person to person in real time. It was cutting away to a past memory of flashing back forward. And that was, I don't I don't think that achieved what they wanted it to achieve. I didn't.
No.
That style of filming, it wasn't just chaotic. It didn't. A lot of it didn't make sense because they were like with the at the end when they highlighted those words. It was too quick for us to grasp what it said. Too quick for us to grab what was happening, and too quick for us to grasp what time period it was in. It didn't flow well for that reason.
Let me go to Reddit and see if anybody's been able to decode the words.
But even in the first season, it was chaotic. The filming was obscenely chaotic, but it was in a way that made sense. There was, even though it was cutaways to the person next to him, it still had a flow to it. This one where it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, but then there's also times where it would be like really, really quick images flashing. So there was no consistency to the way they filmed it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, did you see that Io? She actually, who plays Sydney, she actually directed the episode, Tina's episode.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that. So it says a writer from NPR spent a lot of time trying to decode the brief amount of words and phrases we see from an actual review. Here's what I think the review might say. Carmi is an amazing chef, full of potential, creative, amazing, but the rest of the team is not living up to its great ideas. The review saying the toxic kitchen atmosphere is inconsistent with the beautiful dishes and experience would be a pretty fitting capstone to this season in Carmi's self-destruction. I think that's about what it says. Because they could hear the screaming and everything coming from the kitchen, if I remember. So like I can kind of see that being the like beautiful dishes, but a toxic kitchen atmosphere. And I think that would actually be a really good review for Carmi because then he would be able to see that
He's insane.
the way that he's acting in his kitchen is what's going to be the fail of his restaurant.
Yep.
And he's going to have to change that.
Yeah.
So I like that.
There was one scene where they showed the in between. It was when Richie was on one side and Carmen was on the other.
Yeah.
And they showed how thin the walls are. And my husband was like, is that really how, so they can hear everything that's going on in the kitchen? Like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The words that were on the screen, they flashed through was confusing, excellent, culinary, innovative, sloppy, inconsistent, simple, complex, and stale. Those were the words that they highlighted. And Carmi didn't actually say OF. He said mother effer. So there were good words in there, but the word stale is not really one you want to hear as a chef.
Yeah, like this one. What if the review wasn't bad at all? What if the words are meant to trick us into thinking it was a bad review? Like when we see the word stale, it could be a whole different meaning, like with some fine dining. Well, oh, I don't have my glasses on. With some fine dining feeling stale, the bear delivers delicious food, etc.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it could
be
just
like that.
Carmi is so toxic that he could just be hitting on words that are what he believes about himself.
I could see that being what they I think that would be like brilliant filming because that is what is in his head. We know that he's going to be toxic.
Yeah. And
He's
he's going
going
to
to
have to be
pick out
talked off that
only the
ledge.
bad words. And he was just literally, you could tell he was scanning it. He wasn't reading it word for word. He was scanning it.
Well, that's because he is so stressed out that his eyes can't sit still for too long. His eyes are constantly bouncing.
If he had real friends, they would have made sure that he went home with them and they would have read it together. Because,
well, I don't think they knew that it was. I think that he was probably sent an advance copy, and he probably wasn't prepared for it. Because I think he pulled out his phone to text Claire. That's what I think he was doing. I think he pulled out his phone to text Claire because after that talk with Joe McHale, and then someone had sent them the pre-viewing of the review, and then he got distracted. And I think so I like that. I think that you're right. I think it could be that he was just hitting on words that he felt defined what his worst fears about himself. The other thing I thought was maybe, and I hope it's what you said, I hope that's more true. The other thing I thought was that maybe those words are words that Carmi interpreted them saying. Interpreted.
it
That
could
maybe
be.
that's not what what the review said, but maybe he saw some words and he's like, what? That's stale. Because there's sometimes when people are like, it's good, Carmi. Like, oh, good, not great kind of thing. I mean, that conversation exactly never happened with those words, but that's kind of his attitude. Is he expects perfection in every single way. Oh, I remember the scene with Richie when they said that someone called the restaurant called Sugar and Sugar said, why is there someone asking me what time the photographer can come in and take pictures of our restaurant? And then Richie went out and he went, Chef Sid, can you please ask Carmi why? That's the scene that it was. And that was when they like, no, the reviewer already came. And I felt bad for Richie when he was trying to give his pep talk and he couldn't focus. And he couldn't focus because of his stupid ex-wife. She's ruining him. Does she not see that?
I don't think she does. I think she's very self-centered.
She is, and it's awful, and it's terrible. And I think she was before they even got pregnant. Like that, I kind of felt like Richie was the one who wanted to be a father, and she was kind of like, "Yeah, okay."
I think so.
All right.
Did we see his daughter at all this season?
Yes, in
one of the first 2 episodes. Yeah, we did.
And that's what she says. I'm worried that you're alone. Mom says you're alone.
I remember that.
So overall, the rating I would give the season is probably in C to C- territory. I cannot give it lower than that because I think this show is so innovative and it's so good. And the acting, I would give it A+ too. Hands down. Every single person on the show.
Yep. I agree with you there. The acting, superb.
But the filming decisions and the editing and just the general atmosphere and likability of the characters this year was just like, wow. If I like Jamie Lee Curtis, cannot remember Donna. It's Donna, right? Donna Berzatto.
Yeah.
If I like Donna Berzatto more than I like Carmen Berzatto, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I thought her as a character this season was a better person than Carmen was.
Oh, I know. You know how excited I got when she's like, call mom? I was like, yes, we're getting some Jamie in here. And she did not disappoint coming through that parking
lot. I think that we need to try to get Jamie Lee Curtis on here because that woman. And it's funny because, and we talked about this last night because it was you and I in the last Bear review. By the way, Amanda and I are not the only ones who watched the Bear, but Jeanette couldn't get past episode 3 this season. So she's still stuck.
And she apparently had to go to the movies with her husband because it's his birthday. Whatever.
But so Amanda and I last time talked about how I know Jamie Lee Curtis from like Freaky Friday and like her lighter shows because I don't like horror movies and she does a lot of horror movies. But Amanda knows her side from the horror movies. From so Halloween. And I know how good Jamie Lee Curtis is in general because I think she's a pro. I mean, I don't have enough good words to say about her acting abilities. Yeah. And as a human being, I mean, she's a pretty phenomenal human being as well in her outside of acting.
Yeah.
So like she's one who, if we had her on here, I might fangirl a little bit over, but I would like to have
I
her
would
on
just be
here.
like,
Hi.
hi.
But I think that she has so many layers to her skill.
Oh yeah.
It's nuts. What she made, like those close-ups on her face during Sugar's birth were brilliant.
She looks so old.
Brilliant.
I want to know if they like had to age her a little bit because I felt
I
like
think
she
so.
looked older than she actually really
Mhm.
does in her life.
I think, yeah, I think the hair and the makeup, because you could, and that's the other thing I liked about this show is that they don't, every scene is not perfect makeup. It's more realistic. I like that they make the characters look more realistic.
Yeah.
And with like
Yeah.
Tina and Sid, you don't really, they're wearing makeup, but you can't really tell. And they're beautiful and they don't need a lot, but you can't tell. And on her, when they zoomed in, it was the eyeliner, kind of like mine, but mine's not my fault. Mine keeps going down and I don't like it. But on her, she had just a black eyeliner and it was smudged super far below her eyes. Like she had
Yeah.
slept in it. So those are just, and I think that aged her a little bit too. But you're right, the skin like on her forehead was a little aged, and even like around her
Like
mouth was
around
aged.
her mouth, I feel like it just looked more aged than
Mhm. And maybe
anytime I
that's how
ever
she
see
really
her.
is. I
Or
don't know.
maybe that is just, how she really is, and everything else we always see is
And
made up and touched up more.
and what's crazy about her is it doesn't matter how old or young she is,
I
she
know.
always looks great. But
She
even with
does.
like the wrinkles that she had on her face, she is no less beautiful than she was in Halloween. Like,
No.
how does that frickin' women do that? How do you do that?
And
And
I
it's
feel
not
like
like a
she's
money
just a
thing.
genuine good person. I
Yes.
feel like I
Being a,
don't know personally. I could be
being a
totally
good
wrong,
person is
but
good for your skin.
I feel like I just have this feeling like she could be like one of those actors that just everybody could kind of rely on,
Hmm.
and look up to
Yeah.
and not be sketchy.
But she's one who we like to get on here and talk to her. And but I think I would like this crew of the Bear. I
Mhm.
would like, and even the directors, because I want to pick their brains about why they made some of the decisions they did. I think this is like the first show. This is not to say all the shows we watch, I want to interview the people. But on this show, I can unequivocally say there is not one single person that is involved in the show that I would not want to talk to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're great.
Yeah. Every single one of them are.
So, what would you rate the show? What is your grade for season 3?
I
Show overall bumped down from an A plus to a B with this season for me, though. Overall.
agree with you there. And I think I have to agree with you on the grade too. I think I have to go C. I'll go C. I was gonna say C plus, but I like even that's hard for me to
Yeah. I'm wavering on the
just
opposite
because
of
I
C
don't want
minus
to say
C.
like the bear C. Like it doesn't seem like
It
it
doesn't
goes
compute.
together. But for this season, I think I have to say a C.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And obviously, even though we did not enjoy the season as much as 1 and 2, watch it still because it's still phenomenal. No matter how you cut it, it's still
Yeah.
phenomenal. And giving a C to it's like when you have a $7,000 item that's 50% off. Yeah, 50% off of 7,000 is still a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
Same with this. Giving a C to an A plus 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 show for a season, still a high grade,
Yeah.
but we just hold it to a higher standard because it's been so blow your mind phenomenal.
Yeah. And it just wasn't the season.
No.
Sorry.
So still watch it, and you're gonna need stuff to build up for season 4. It's been renewed for season 4. Am I wrong on that?
If it hasn't and they left it like that, then
Can you imagine?
I'm changing my grade.
Let me look it up real quick. Okay, yes, it has. Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Whew.
okay. So I just read an article. It's from Screen Rant, which is one of my favorite. I know it's not always accurate, but it is one of my favorite things to go
I
to when we're
I
looking
I
up
go
this
to it a
stuff.
lot. Yeah.
Um, but if you go to that, I think you'll be pleased, Amanda, because the front picture of Io and Jeremy, his very, very insanely blue eyes are on full display.
Aww.
Like his eyes are stupid blue. Like
I know.
it's ridiculous. So season 4 of The Bear, now they're hopeful it'll come out summer 2025, which I feel is too long to wait for that. However, maybe I will try to get down to Chicago. Although I work now, so I only have Saturday and Sundays off. But maybe I'll just take a vacation day, not a sick day, a vacation day, and go down to Chicago and see if I can be like, hey, just tell me what's gonna happen.
Can I get your schedule, please?
Will Josh Hartnett return?
It is a to be continued. So
And when can I expect him on scene? But I think next year, we talked about this in the review of season 1 and 2. We do not want this restaurant to fail. If it fails, that's the end of the
No.
show.
Yeah,
So
no.
I think what I need to happen is I think I need his talk with Joe McHale, whose name we still don't know. I think that talk has to bring Carmi back to a level of I cannot do this, and then go to get help because he realizes he doesn't want to be this guy. And then from there, I think the mixed review should bring in more people to figure out if it's good or bad. I think this has to convince Carmen, seeing these words, even if they aren't actually the words that were there, even if it's not actually what you think, I think that it needs to force him to turn to Sydney and say, I need you. I need you to
Mm-hmm.
be equal with this in me. I need you to talk me down when I'm high and don't give up. That's the other thing about Sydney. She gives up. She'll say, what do you think about this? And he'll say no. And she'll say, okay. She
Yeah,
needs to
she
be a
won't.
partner. She needs to see herself as a partner. That's part of the reason why Carmi gets out of control. Carmi responds to firm things. I need Sydney to be firm with him next season. If you want me in this, I need to be allowed to be in it.
Yeah, she's too timid right now.
And I need that next season. And I need
Yeah,
the bear to thrive, obviously.
I agree with you.
We need to know what happened with Unk's money,
I
how
think
he
he
lost
just
it, and did he really
invested
lose it all?
wrong.
But
I
we need to know. All right.
Chef David, that's his. I had to go figure it out.
Amanda figured out Joe McHale's name, which you'd think that I would be able to remember Chef David since that's my husband's name, but I will probably still call him Joe McHale. I do hope we stop seeing him
I do say I'm done with him.
because
I
that
like
once
Joel, but
I do, yes. But that
sorry,
one
no.
scene where he's making the same plate and Joe McHale saying the same thing, I could be done seeing that now. Carmen's
Yeah,
at his piece. It needs to be exercised from his mind and his body.
and
Be
move
done.
on.
Mm-hmm. Be
Yeah,
better.
I agree
I
with
need
you.
Carmen to be likable next season. And the
Please.
other thing I missed this season that I want to see return is why was Richie not expoing?
I
Why was it
know.
Carmi or Sid expoing? They should be cooking.
I
Richie
don't
should
think
be
we
expoing in front of house.
did we ever see a dinner
Not since season 2.
service
No, nope.
in season 3. You know, we didn't.
We see them cooking the food. We see them in the kitchen. And then oh, that was another thing. There was one time when Richie turned his head to the side and it was like they were going to make a big scene and they just show a fork dropping. And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, I know. They kept doing stuff like
What,
that.
what did that, but
What does that mean?
what came of that? Nothing. It was never touched on again. Like, okay. All right. So I need, I feel
Need
like
something.
I need movement. We
Yeah.
cannot keep staying with the same Carmi season after season after season. He needs to be
Mm-hmm.
moved. And Richie needs to be set in his role. And I think Richie needs to have a big part. Maybe make Richie a part owner in this because he needs to have a role.
I
He's
think
the
I
one
would love to
keeping it
have
together.
Richie, Sydney, and Carmi.
And Sugar. Sugar has to be there somewhere. That's a lot
I
of
don't
cooks
know
in
if
the
she
kitchen,
really
though.
needs to have ownership in it though, but I would love for her to stay on as like
Yeah.
manager, a manager of sorts.
What
I
her
guess.
role is, she seems to take on the book. So I don't know if she's their accountant or if she is just the manager of the restaurant. I'm okay if Richie doesn't take ownership, but I feel like they need to treat him as if he is one because he runs the whole front of house and that is his domain. I
Yeah.
don't think he needs to be a partner on paper, but I think they need to treat him well
Yeah.
because he
No, I
does run the
agree.
front of house. I did, and you see that too, where Carmi's going out there arranging the flowers after Richie just did it. Like,
That made me so mad.
stay in your lane, my guy. This might be your restaurant, but if you're gonna give ownership to someone else, stay in your lane. And I
Mm-hmm.
need that to happen next season. This restaurant will fall apart if they don't do that. What do you want to see next season?
Anything better than this season. That's all.
Yeah.
Like I need
A
I
return
need
to their roots.
I just feel like we need something else. It's just boring this season. It was I guess I I hate to say it, but to
There
me
was
I was
nothing
just
to latch
bored.
onto.
Nothing. I'm tired of I'm tired of them calling this a dark comedy as well. Because this season I felt like there was zero comedy.
I laughed a lot, but it didn't feel like it belonged in the show. Even my
No.
husband said that he felt like they were trying too hard to make it funny when it was not
Yeah.
funny.
And I liked having that dark comedy of the last couple of seasons where you
Mhm.
kind of like laugh over
It made
stuff that you
sense.
shouldn't really need to laugh over, but it was still funny. But this season, so I next season I would love to be able to laugh a little bit more.
Mhm.
I need Carmi to step up his game and figure his
Crap out.
stuff out.
I know what you're
And
going to say there. It's all right.
I need Sydney to stay on.
Yeah. Sydney needs to start. Sydney needs to be a human being. When she had the panic attack, it was
Yeah.
because the article came out about the bear and it was all about Carmi being great. Use
I
your
thought that
voice.
Carmi was going to kind of come in while she was having the panic attack and kind of help her through it
That's what I
because
was hoping
he
too.
has them too. I felt that was such a missed
Yep,
opportunity.
I agree.
That would have connected them. And I know there's a lot of people online, they want them to be romantically
No,
involved.
no.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I want. But I would love for them to have a better friendship and connection
Mm-hmm.
than what they have now.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get. I guess so. I guess that's maybe my hope for next season.
All right. I think that's a great way to say it, though. The season was full of, like with the John Cena, that it didn't fit. I get you were trying to put a funny element in there, but it did not fit because they made the season too dark, too
Yeah.
sad, too angsty. It doesn't fit. Seasons 1 and 2, the comedy fit because it was comedy within the angst, not something wholly separate. But like you said, the season was full of missed opportunities. It was full of nothing to latch onto. It was full of incomplete thoughts, is what it felt like.
Yeah.
So I think if this is the trajectory just to build, if this is a builder season to go into a thriving season, okay, make it work though. Be Tim Gunn here. Make it work.
Yeah. If 4 is a bad season, like you're gonna start losing me.
Yeah. And that's a
Sorry.
shame because you cannot. It's been so long since I have seen a cast that does this amazing of work.
Yes.
It's it's insane. It is, and we watch a lot of TV. This is insane.
It's a phenomenal cast. Phenomenal.
Don't use and abuse them here. Give them something good to work with. Yeah. Like I said, they did with what they had. They did even not even just with what they had. They all did great, even though the season played out poorly, in my opinion. They still did amazing.
They did.
So I think next year will be better. I think it'll be better. It's summer of 2025. So again, you'll get a review because hopefully they're gonna drop it all at once again. So we won't. The next Bear episode you'll get from us will be after they drop season 4, and the next episode you will get from us will be in September. We're not sure of the date yet because we don't know when premiere. We don't have premiere dates yet. But your next episode you will get from us will be premiere episodes of. Well, we got Grace, we got Fire Country, we got Wheel Trip, we got the Chicago's, we have the 911s.
Fire Country.
Yep.
I don't know when that's coming back though.
We don't know when any of those are coming back. So just those 5 premieres, those 5 groupings that we have. That's what's coming up next. Hopefully, what we want to do, we want to mix it up to also give you some cast interviews. And we know from experience when we've reached out to other cast members, when we have to reach out, we just have to be diligent in doing it at the right times. So hopefully that's coming next year or next season. So we will see you in September. Don't forget to check out our Facebook group, which is Fandom Family Chats. Remember, it's just one group now. We are going to be starting a book club where we need your help though, because if you want to be a part of the book club, let us know. And our goal is to, this is Amanda's baby. It was her brainchild. Where we're
too many brainchilds.
we are full of ideas. And I just want to say, okay, we were planning a convention. Okay, I need this out there because we have been fuming in private for like a year and a half now.
Yeah, we
had this plan for a convention that we were going to do, and we still will do it eventually. It's just about timing and finances. We have talked to some, and we're not going to tell you who for obvious reasons, but we have talked to some cast members of some shows and some crew members for some shows who said they are more than willing to come and they would love to come and be a part of it. But we are going to do a convention with our podcast that was these different shows that we watch, like a Comic-Con, where they would have panels and we would have things where you can play games and do all these things. There is a convention who I will not name, who has somehow, even though we never made it public, has taken every single one of our ideas. Every single one. It's like some of these things we never even said out loud.
One of us has said.
There's one where we wanted to do, if you pay for a VIP package, we will have a bonfire with this actor and this actor, and we'll have that's what you can do. Have a bonfire that we already have the convention center that we're going to use. We have it all planned out. And we had to shut down when I got canceled. We planned this October 2021. And in November, Thanksgiving week of 2021, I found out I had cancer. So we had to put it all on hold as I recovered. And then the next year, they're like, hey, this is one of the things you could buy. It's a bonfire with this actor. Like,
it was never even told anybody about that. Guys. All of our ideas.
And their convention is coming up soon. And they have literally done everything we planned to do. And when they started to, we're like, okay, let's change gears. Let's do this cast. And then they just came out and they said, hey, we're going to do this cast. So when
All
you
of our
hear
casts.
when you hear of a Fandom Family Chats convention and it seems like we're copying people, we aren't. We had the ideas before it was announced that they had them. So
I have them dated in drives.
Yep. Same. We've had meetings with our team about this. Yeah. So if that's something you're interested in, let us know that too, because it comes down to finances of when we can do this. But our plan is to get it done. We already have all the contracts out and we'd like to do it. Anyway, our book club. Our book club, we need your help with that too, because we want to pick a book to review every month. And then we'll have another group where we talk about it and we review week to week, whatever. And we want to know what books you want us to read. If you have a favorite book you want us to read, do that. And our Facebook group, which is, again, Fandom Family Chats, we talk about books there too. It's not just TV shows, not just movies, anything, any fandom. That is our chat. That is our podcast. It's about fandom. So let us know there. Hit us up on social media. We're Fandom Family Chats on everything. Find us there, and we will see you in a few months. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there, and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.